Hello, this is Joe Reilly. I'm here today to talk to you about the DOT and FMCSA requirements for DOT drug and alcohol testing. So it's a pleasure to be able to address you and help you understand the DOT requirements for drug and alcohol testing. And let's kind of get right into it. I'm going to talk about who is covered. So not everybody that drives a truck is covered for the DOT drug and alcohol testing program. And not everybody who has a CDL or even a DOT number is required to have DOT drug and alcohol testing. But who is required? Those of you who hold a commercial driver's license, a CDL, or a permit, commercial driver's license permit, issued by the US, Mexico, or Canada, and operate a commercial motor vehicle in anywhere in the United States, and that commercial motor vehicle has one of the following criteria: has a gross vehicle weight rating, a gross vehicle weight or gross combination weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more, a vehicle designed to carry 16 or more passengers, including the driver, which would be a bus, or any size vehicle that's used to transport hazardous materials and is required to be placarded. So if you drive a small truck, even though you have a CDL license, and even though you have a DOT number, if you drive a truck that's less than 26,001 pounds, and you're not transporting hazardous materials, you are not required to have the DOT drug and alcohol testing. Most trucking companies and trucks out there that are 26,001 pounds or more are the ones that are required to have DOT drug and alcohol testing programs. So what's required? It's required that you have a pre-employment drug test. You don't need a pre-employment alcohol test. You need a negative pre-employment drug test to start driving. You need to be enrolled in a random drug testing consortium, or what we call a standalone drug testing consortium. So the consortium is when we have a group of drivers from multiple companies all banded together into one consortium. The standalone pool is a larger company, maybe 20, 30 or more drivers, and they have their own random pool. Owner operators are required to be in the consortium pool. We are required in any of our random pools to test 50% over the course of the year for drugs, and to test 10% over the course of the year for alcohol. Driver education is important. It's important for you as a driver, or if you employ drivers, to know the rules. The rules can be downloaded from the DOT's website on drug and alcohol testing. If your company hires 2 or more drivers, so in other words, you go beyond being an owner operator, there are now some additional requirements. Those are that you have a policy, you have a drug and alcohol testing policy, and that you also provide for the supervisor of your drivers a reasonable suspicion training program. And that's a 2-hour training, and it is important. It is an item that is checked on a new entrance exam. It is an item that is checked on a safety audit or other inspection of your drug and alcohol testing program. So know what's required. And when do you test? When do you test your drivers? When do you test as an owner operator? Again, that pre-employment test is critical. Random testing, 50% over the course of the year for drugs, 10% over the course of the year for alcohol post-accident testing, but not every accident. There's certain criteria for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration for you to have to do a DOT post-accident drug and alcohol test. So what's that criteria? Well, one, there's a fatality in the accident. Any fatality, you've got to do the DOT drug and alcohol post-accident test. Two, the driver of your truck gets a ticket and there's disabling damage to a vehicle in the accident that has to be towed away. The third criteria is your driver gets a ticket and there's medical attention needed for a person away from the scene of the accident. They have to go to a hospital or a medical center, urgent care, etc. So there's only three criteria. If it doesn't meet one of the three criteria, you don't need to do the DOT drug and alcohol test. What are the three criteria again? One, a fatality. Two, you get a ticket with disabling damage to a vehicle. Or three, you get a ticket with medical attention required of an individual. Reasonable suspicion is also required. Reasonable suspicion testing when a trained supervisor makes a determination that someone in the operation of the safety sensitive positions might be using drugs or alcohol. And then the last two times that we test are return to duty and follow-up. So return to duty is when you are taken out of service because you had a positive drug or alcohol test. You go through a substance abuse professional program, you come back to work, that's your return to duty drug test. And that same person will be required to have follow-up drug testing to make sure that they stay clean for the employer that they work for or as an owner operator. So that's when you test. Now, what if you test positive or you have a refusal? If you test positive or have a refusal, you are removed from the driving position. You are reported to the FMCSA clearinghouse, a database that tracks all violations of drivers. You are required to enter a program with a substance abuse professional, or SAP as they're called. And after the program with the substance abuse professional, you are required to have a return to duty test to go back to work for the same employer or to go back for another employer if you were, let's say, terminated from the first employer. You will be required to have follow-up testing. It may be for a period of 1 year. It may be for a period of up to 5 years. So, how can I get all this taken care of? Well, we at National Drug Screening can help you. We offer immediate service. You can call and get set up immediately. We offer nationwide service. We do business all over the United States. We can get drug testing done in any part of the country. We work with Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp and other labs so that we can service you with nationwide coverage. You can call us at 866-843-4545. You can email me directly and I'll help you personally at joe@nationaldrugscreening.com. So help is available. Now, what about this FMCSA clearinghouse that I mentioned? It's a database that got started only about a year and 10 months ago, January of 2020. The clearinghouse records and tracks all positive drug and alcohol tests, all refusals to test, and puts you in a prohibited status until you go through the SAP program and get your negative return to duty test. So both the employer and the employee, the employer and the driver have responsibilities in the clearinghouse. Both have to register directly in the clearinghouse website. Going to go to www.clearinghouse.fmcsa.dot.gov. And the employer, when they're hiring a new driver, must run a pre-employment query to make sure that that driver is not in a prohibited status. And that employer must also run an annual query to make sure that driver maybe didn't get a positive with a different employer. And if you are in a prohibited status, you cannot operate in a covered vehicle. Now, we have an affiliated company called clearinghouseservices.com. If you need help with the clearinghouse, help with registering, help with running queries, help with challenging a violation that might be on your record, you can contact us at www.clearinghouseservices.com. You can call the company at 877-345-2425, and you can email at info@clearinghouseservices.com. Just a quick note, clearinghouseservices.com is a private company, not affiliated with the federal government, offering services to help you if you need help. You can do these things on your own, but if you want help, you can get help from clearinghouseservices.com. There are fees involved. So to kind of get to the point where we are wrapping up here, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you today about the requirements for trucking companies and trucking drivers for DOT drug and alcohol testing programs. Remember, just because you have a DOT number does not require you to have DOT drug and alcohol testing. But if your commercial motor vehicles are over 26,001 pounds or rated to transport a total gross weight of 26,001 pounds, that's when you are required to have the DOT drug and alcohol testing program. You can call my office at 866-843-4545. Anybody there can help you with the DOT drug and alcohol testing program, and you can email me directly and I will be able to personally help you. That would be joe@nationaldrugscreening.com.